Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to talk about my free ebook. And I'm going to do this because in this modern time, people are much more likely to um, watch or listen to a video than read a book. And because it's free anyway, I decided to make a summary. This is my free ebook. This is what you will get. I wrote this about a year ago, so there might going to come some updates in the future. You can register to my mailing list if you would like to receive the updates. So here's the introduction. I'll skip to it for now. There's some links in here. This is how you can contact me if you would like. lowemflife@yahoo.com. Table of contents. So it's 10 tips with a bonus tip. And the first tip that I want to give to people is to put your phone on airplane mode at nighttime. So before you go to bed, put your phone in airplane mode because you don't want to be disrupted in the middle of the night by an update from Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp message or whatever. If you want to get proper sleep, best thing is put the phone in airplane modus. The phone also emits EMFs, and I think that the body is more susceptible to it at nighttime than during the daytime. So anybody can do this, and this is totally for free, and it already will reduce your microwave exposure by 1/3. Imagine you carry your phone with you 24 hours a day, or have around you 24 hours a day, and by not putting it on or putting in airplane mode 8 hours a day, you already have a huge reduction. Plus, we keep the phone a lot of times in our pocket and very close to us. So this is a source of EMS. It's very close to us. That was tip one. The second one is to charge your phone with a power bank. And it's not necessary when you have your charger far away from your bed, but most people have their phone close to the bed. For example, they use it as alarm, or sometimes they're in bed and they're scrolling a bit or whatever. So a lot of people, I saw this a lot of times, people have their phone close to the bed. And in that case, the charger from your phone will create a voltage, an electric field. And to reduce this electric field, it's better to do it on a low voltage thing, like a power bank, than put it on here in the Netherlands, we have 230 volt grid. So it's better to be surrounded with low voltages. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is turn off your Wi-Fi at night. It's like the same, a bit like tip number 1. It also depends on the distance, but also think about the environment. I once made a calculation, but I couldn't really find very reliable information on the internet about how many watts a router uses. But imagine if everybody turns off their router at night, how much energy we could save as a country, as a union in the world. But also think for businesses. A lot of businesses, they have their routers on 24/7 because nobody takes care to look at this tiny bit of energy that we can save. But all these tiny bits of energy can save a huge amount of energy. So I highly encourage also businesses to do this for the environment. But as a personal person, yes, and there's ways that you can do this. You can plug it out, you can put something in between, and you have also smart routers now, or there's somebody I know who sells eco routers, and you can program the router that will be switched off at night. And this is also a good method for yourself to not become too addicted to computers and internet and technology, and say, hey, okay, after a certain time it switches out. So that's tip number 3. Then here we have tip number 4, use cable internet as much as possible. So here in my home office, I have a lot of things cabled. I even have my phone cabled. So as we can see, I don't know if you can see it, but my phone is in airplane mode, but I can still use the internet. And the same goes for my iPad, same goes for my PC. So I think that new ways of technology, wireless communication, they have a technical benefit. I'm not going to talk about the health effects, but they have a technical benefit that we can agree upon. But it's not even necessary. When you're working at home, why should you do this? You know, it's not necessary. Everybody can reach me now on WhatsApp or Messenger, Hangouts, these kind of things, Skype, Zoom. So why would I need to be available constantly 24/7 on the phone while I am available on the internet during business hours? So that's a question to ask ourselves. Cable, yeah, It's like maybe 10 euros. It's very low investment, but it's also a great way to reduce your exposure. Then we go to tip number 5, wear blue light blocking glasses. I have them here on my desk. So when I'm working at night, I will put on my blue light blocking glasses. And this makes a huge difference. I have another one. I have also an orange one. But it's very important for the eyes, for the pineal gland, melatonin, these kind of things. It all has a connection, and I can highly encourage people to wear blue light blocking glasses, because blue light is good during around noon, during the middle of the day. It boosts productivity, but this is not the kind of light that we need at nighttime. I try and surround myself with a kind of orangey light. So I have a salt lamp, and also I have a LED strip, and I sometimes burn a candle, but this is more natural toward the end of the day, because we also have to keep in mind the circadian rhythm. Then number 6, well, not everybody gonna use this, but for people who are on the phone a lot, I recommend buying a selfie stick. A selfie stick can be handy for making selfies, for vlogging, these kind of things. I have my selfie stick right here. But imagine you're on the phone for an hour with somebody, and the closer you are to the source of the source of the EMFs, which is your phone, the higher the radiation. This is a quadratical equation. So just keeping a tiny bit of distance, maybe 20 centimeters here, can already make a huge difference, and it makes sure that the EMFs don't penetrate the body directly. When you're holding the phone in your hand, these EMFs go directly in the body. But when you're using the selfie stick, you don't have this problem, or it is much less. So that was tip number 6. And this is tip number 7. Yeah, and I wrote my ebook around memes, because I think a picture can say more than 1,000 words, and in a modern day and age, everything goes so fast. That's why I think I try to capture the message in a meme, and I explain it a bit with a bit of text, and I can do it more, but now I choose to explain it in video. But tip number 7 is get an indication of EMFs with free apps, and some of them you pay for, but all these apps you see here, they're free. And I once tested it. They give a good indication. They're not as accurate as professional meters, but they give an indication. And also, like, there's also apps, I don't see it in here, I think, but there's also apps where, yeah, here, Wi-Fi analyzer, that one. Kind of apps like that one give you a great indication if you want to measure this EMFs, and you don't have meter, but you can see how many Wi-Fi signals you're getting. So, and the thing is also, being exposed to one signal is different than being exposed to 10 different signals, and those signals might also be out of sync. If they would also be in sync, it might also be different. But I've been in a lot of places, and in some places you really have like 10 Wi-Fi signals that you can get on one phone, or 20. And this is the modern world that we're living in. And if you want to know how exposed you are, I can highly recommend downloading an app like this. And also for these things, that I have to say, I'm not sure about how accurate they are, but it gives an indication, and it's fun to play around with. And for people who have no or low budget, it's a great solution. Then tip number 8 is find out how far you live away from cell phone towers. Me, with a real estate background, I would not recommend, for example, buying a house here, or it has to be very well shielded. And I think in the future, it might come to a point where governments or whatever are going to force the industry to pay or to compensate people that are living here. Because, yeah, we have to, well, we don't have to, but I think that in the modern day and age, to be without wireless communication will also be quite drastical. We don't have to go back to the Stone Age. I think that we can try to lower these voltages from these things as much as possible. But at one point, we have to put water with the wine. But it's very important that you find out where these towers are, and that I would not recommend people to live very directly underneath them. If you Here, it might already be better, depending also on the construction of this building and the materials and these kind of things. And there's ways to find this out with Google Maps, etc. And I want to encourage people to look at the movie Resonance Beings of Frequency. I don't know if I put it here in the ebook, but I will put a link in the comments. And I have also decided to make a bonus or maybe come up with an update in the future. And I'm going to make a list with videos that are free to watch on YouTube. So if you really want to study this topic, then you can do that. Number 9, try to limit your overall exposure as much as possible. So I came up with a formula for EMF exposure, and this is the exposed time for times the level, and you'll get a unit. So for example, at nighttime, I might be surrounded by 1,000 microwatts from my smartphone times 8 hours, and then I come up with 8,000 microwatt hours, and this is a unit. And as a researcher, I say, okay, let's see how much would this unit of these units, and there's also different kind of EMFs. For example, with dirty electricity, you can say a GS hour. Milham wrote already a lot about this. And then we can see, okay, let's try to decrease those hours and see if we can get people, if people notice any difference. And we can make it with a scientific, in a scientific way, we can try to figure this out. And number 10 is, I want to encourage everybody to study this topic because it's quite complicated. Yeah, but the resources are there. Most people have access to the internet, even though it's on Wi-Fi, but you still have access on the internet. And go search for these things, you know. But also, I would recommend people to look a bit further than mainstream media. Go on YouTube and Instagram and use the right hashtags. For example, hashtag Stop 5G gives some pretty concerning memes. What makes me question whether this is a wise decision to roll this out. But yes, do the research. Also, government organizations. I am very surprised about government organizations that people, they only look to the mainstream news and the mainstream news platforms. But I would say, hey, you have a responsibility as a person working for the government to take care of society and people living in society. And to do this, it requires you to do research. How can you make a decision about things that you don't do research about? So, for example, watch a movie that's just 1 hour or 2 hours. Anybody of those people can do it. I don't see any reason not to do it. But as an individual, you also have this responsibility. You know? If you're not doing it, in my opinion, you are just lazy. Because if it is important, you will find a way and not an excuse. And the better you understand this topic, the easier it will be for you to talk about others with it and convince others about what can be the effects of this EMF exposure. And here's my bonus tip. That is also positive forms of EMF. So I don't want to be the person that brings a negative message all the time. Although sometimes I feel like a dentist, like you're not going to go to the dentist for fun. So same with EMF measurements, you're not something you do for fun, but it's a wise thing to do. And prevention is better than the cure. But sunlight is very good for us. It makes vitamin D in our body, and we all need it. Also, it activates the pineal gland and secretion of certain hormones. So sunlight is essential. Earthing. I am doing a lot of research about earthing. And generally speaking, I can say that it's very healthy, very good thing to do. Many professionals in this field recommend at least 20 minutes of earthing per day. And also surround yourself with people. People have an aura. People are also energetic beings. So make sure that you spend time with people that give you energy instead of people that drain energy. So follow your heart. So this was it. Yeah, you can download the ebook on my website. There's some links in here. I made a questionnaire. And here's some donation links. And in the end, I will pronounce also that I have some kind of a premium version and also an ebook how you can measure these EMFs and how you can for a low budget and how you can reduce them in your own house or office. This is still in beta version, but it is for sale, and you can find the links in here. So that was it. Thank you for watching, and see you in another video.